Is this gonna cost us the game? Is this gonna cost us the game? The turn timer! The turn timer! The animation! The turn timer! Ah. Oh no! Oh no, oh no, oh no. Hey yo, how's it going everyone? Entropy here today with another video. This is day 2 of Set 12, a very exciting set. There's a lot of decks I want to showcase, but of course we have to start with my main, Shadow Paladin. Now honestly, and I'm trying to not be biased here, but I feel like Revengers is the best deck of the format. It does so much, and if you want to know more about my list, why I chose certain cards, if you want to know some tips and tricks, and how I would plan out my moves, well, stick around and let's talk about it. So, as usual, the first half of the video is going to be about my list. Why did I pick these cards? What do they do? What kind of simplistic synergies do they have? And then into some games and see how these tactics or strategies can be applied in practice. Alright, so I guess let's just go straight into the deck list and see why I chose certain things. So I think honestly, a lot of these cards you will be familiar with because you probably have seen a lot of Revengers on ladders, myself included. I found a lot of mirror matches, but I've been doing decently well. Didn't really try a lot because I have a lot of assignments and stuff piled up, but this deck is relatively straightforward. There are more plays than some other more mainstream decks from the last few seasons, but definitely a lot more streamlined. There's a lot of options, but generally if you stick to the plan of action that I will recommend, you will do pretty good. Alright, so let's just start with Creeping Dark Goat. Creeping Dark Goat is your grade 3 searcher. It's not a Revenger, so this is important because some of your units do want to eat up Revengers specifically. So why are we playing Creeping Dark Goat and not Claudus, or why not the LB4 Soul Charge Draw 1 card? Well, Creeping Dark Goat gives you one advantage, which is consistency. Consistency getting your grade 3s. And this is really important because as you play this deck, you will notice that if you miss your Mordred, you lose a lot of that pressure. You want your Mordreds, and you're actually okay with drawing an additional Raging Form because if you add that Raging Form to your hand, it means that you don't need to sack 3 Revengers to pick up a copy of itself. So basically, it's losing less. Even if you draw into the Raging Form, you will still make use of it afterwards anyways. So I guess that's basically it. Claudus did get the nerf when we on release for Global. On JP it was Counterblast 1, in Global it's Counterblast 2, and even after testing it, at first I was like, you know, maybe once you set up the Dorint, maybe the Claudus is still okay. Maybe. Because you basically get to Superior Call a Blaster Dark Revenger for Counterblast 1 because you unflip one, right? But I don't think that's the right way to think about it because if you were setting up the Dorint anyways, you were going to get that unflip anyways. Counterblast 2 to change a grade 0 into grade 2 is quite hefty. This deck, you know, if you're going to play your play sets of Tartus, if you're going to play your mains, if you choose to do so, and your Blaster Darks, and your Trumpeters, a lot of Counterblast 1, Counterblast 2, definitely not as Counterblast heavy as the OG Shadow deck, but still Counterblast heavy nonetheless, so you have to be wary of that. Like the fact that Claudus gives you that on-demand retire, but you have other ways of achieving that anyways. So of course, as we said, one of the key cards, Dorint, Barrier Troop Revenger Dorint. When your Blaster Dark Revenger is placed in the same column as this unit, if your Vanguard is a Revenger, Countercharge 1. Next we have 4 Dark Revenger Maclears. Maclear is the new type of PG. One advantage of this is definitely synergy with Break Ride. Another one clearly is because it has the Revenger name. Again, with Raging Form, you do want to sack Revenger names, so this is actually quite important. Next up, we're going to play 3 Dark Bond Trumpeters, Revenger Dark Bond Trumpeters. This card is pretty great as well. On place, Counterblast 1 to call one out of 4 grade 0 tokens. Now, these tokens used to be the triggers for Revengers. So Freezing Revenger, a Grim Revenger, Freezing Revenger, Awakening Revenger, Healing Revenger as the draw, as the crit, stand, and the heal respectively, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong, but they're in rest position. So what you use for this card is generally to be used as bait for Raging Form. And especially, I personally enjoy using it for the second skill to pick up that extra copy of Raging Form because, well, the first stack it's mid-battle, right? So you can use them to boost your attack, and then you can sack them. But the second one is during your main phase, and one of the downsides of Dark Bond is that you're calling 5k grade 0, which can boost, that's fine, but it's on rest position, right? So on that turn, since it's rest anyways, you might as well just sack it for the Raging Form if necessary. You have a lot of plays to establish with. You can, just play it out early and have an extra 5k booster. That's really nice and definitely a great addition. And lastly, 2 Transient Revenger Masquerades. In front row, it's a 7+3 if your Vanguard's a Revenger. This card is pretty good. Honestly, this card is pretty good. One thing that you will notice as a Revenger player is your opening is sometimes a bit vulnerable, especially if you're going first. You don't really want to overextend, but you can't really play that catch-up game, and you really need to play more aggressively at times. Masquerade gives you that option. You will be able to trade if your opponent wants to hit your face instead of retire your Masquerade, and your Masquerade can become a booster later on as well. So definitely really nice. All right, moving on to the grade 2s, we got Blaster Dark Revenger. Gotta flex that SP, by the way. Revenger skill is on place, counterblast 2, retire one of any of your opponent's rewards, which is great. Again, remember your Doreen synergy. Sometimes it's just great to just call out for the counter charge, for the unflip, because counter charging is good. Who knew that? This card is actually the key grade 2. Honestly, Tar 2 is really, really good. Counterblast 1 on place if your Vanguard's a Revenger. Call a grade 1 or less Revenger from your deck to the same column. Now, here is my personal preference. Number 1 is going to be Doreen. You want to set up your Doreens. Any point of the game when you draw into Blaster Dark Revenger, it means that you can automatically countercharge 1. In other words, effectively make Blaster Dark Revengers retire Counterblast 1, which is insane, right? Second option, if you're late game, Darkbond Trumpeter. Darkbond Trumpeter, when you call it Darkbond Trumpeter, you can counterblast 1 again to call out another token. So if you really are low on cards and you really need the sacks for Revenger as cost, well, Tar 2 Trumpeter into token is exactly three Revengers, right? I rarely do this because you're spending a lot of counterblasts at the same time, but it is definitely a great option when you need those resources and you need that board presence. And lastly, Masquerade. I think Masquerade is a great option as well, but I would call it the Masquerade when I'm lacking grade 2 options, when I need those beat sticks, or I need those 7k boosters. And generally, if I already have Doreen, then I don't need more than 1 copy, so Masquerade is a great option. Once your Tar 2 gets retired next turn, if you don't have the offensive opportunities, well, push it up. It still hits 10k. Generally, we'll be able to hit grade 2 intercepts, anything 10k base or lower by itself, so it's still a really great card, and can always retreat, move backwards, and act as a 7k boosters as well to hit numbers. We're playing 3 Masquerades. Masquerade's nice. SP, by the way, we have 4 copies, but I personally wouldn't play 4 copies. 9+3 hits numbers. You don't really have anything that boosts for 9k or more, so you really can't hit those 21k numbers. There's a caveat, by the way. I'll talk about that, because if you're listening and you have experience with Revengers, you know that that's slightly off putting to some people. You might be like, bing, but generally speaking, you won't be able to hit those 21k numbers, but being able to hit 12k by itself and then 18 by itself with any of the boosters is really nice. And then lastly, we have 2 Nemains. Nemain is just great. 5k, counterblast 1, discard 1, draw 2. One caveat is that it's not a Revenger, but it helps you draw into your pieces, and most importantly, draw into your Sentinels, and you're even okay with drawing some of the grade 3s, right? Car or Raging Form itself, you do need an extra copy, and all that stuff, so it's really, really nice. Talking about Masquerade and hitting numbers, we have Mordred Phantom. Now, Mordred Phantom is the break ride. It's really, really good, and it even got a buff from its TCG counterpart. Its skill is when rolled upon, your Vanguard gets +10, and then you call a grade 2 or less from a deck, and that unit gets +5. What that means is that, well, if you call a Masquerade, well, it's 12 + 5, 17. With any 6k booster, it's 23. Similarly, if you call a booster out, then it hits numbers as well. It's not just for Masquerade, however. If you have a Doreen already set up, you Superior call a Blaster Dark Revenger, you unflip 1, that column's 21, you retire something, you have so many offensive opportunities. If you're missing on your board presence, if your opponent's playing Narukami or something, and like wiping your board, well, you Superior call Tar 2, you Superior call your Trumpeter, you superior call your token, and then boom, you basically have a full board again. It's insane, it's ridiculous. Mordred Phantom, selective calling grade 2 or below is so good. Next, and of course, on attack Vanguard gets +3. So if you put a 7k booster behind it, it hits 21. So that's nice. Just be aware of your trumpeter placements. Generally, put it on the corners instead of behind the Vanguard, so your Vanguard can actually hit 21k numbers and hit over those stages. And I say that because a lot of your Vanguards get +3 on attack Vanguard. So Raging Form Dragon, this is the main Vanguard. On attack, it gets a skill. At the end of battle, retire 3 Revenger Rearguards to ride, Persona Ride, Raging Form Dragon from your hand. At stand, draw 2 and get +10. It rides itself at stand and hits 21k numbers, which is great. It means that if your opponent's at 3 and doesn't hit a damage from 3 to 5, 21 swings, 21 swings again. And you're able to hit those numbers that you need. With a booster, it works out fine. 31 if necessary. In addition, you might be wondering, oh yeah, Persona though, it might be a little not consistent. Well, you can retire 3 Revenger Rearguards and add a Raging Form Dragon to your hand. Nice new skill. Definitely makes it a lot better. It was already good, now it's a lot better. I love it. You will actually use this more often than not, which is why I see some arguments for Claudius, because you just want to sack it. But well, it's not really that much pressure unless you get your Mordred, or you know, if you might as well just grade 3 search into a Raging Form, then you don't need to sack 3 in the first place, right? Just my 2 cents. We're gonna play 4 Diarmweed. Diarmweed is your crit option if necessary. Limit Break 4, when this unit attacks, retire Avenger to get +5/+1 crit, 15k, and then on attack +3, so 18k on attack Vanguard. You swing for crit pressure. If your opponent's low on cards in hand, or you know your opponent's out of PGs, then this is the way to go. Of course, this is not your ideal ride, but it can work by itself better than Raging Form, honestly. And at times when you're decking out, honestly, sometimes I just switch to Diarmweed just to be on the safe side, because, well, if you check out that day 1 playtesting, I have decked out because I forget Raging Form lets you draw 2 cards. So, you know, the name isn't Pot of Greed, so I forget sometimes, but still. It's just be careful with that. You deck out sometimes because you're superior calling and drawing a lot. And lastly, we still have our Dark Mage Babdakar. It's no longer at 4, so you have 0% chance of Babdakar into Babdakar into Babdakar into Babdakar. Even though it's really unlikely, it actually does happen more often than not. Vanguard Rearguard Circle on place, call the top card of your deck. Well, still good, +1. If you have this in your hand, play it out early. And, well, if your opponent doesn't sack it, well, you know, you can swing, you can use it as a beater, or you can just call on top of it if you really need that board space, right? Overall, this deck does so much for you. It's pretty ridiculous. If you need to draw into stuff, you have your mains. If you need to superior call units, you can Tardu. You can tutor with Tardu. You can tutor with Mordred. It's pretty ridiculous. I am sure I missed some stuff that I wanted to say because I'm just too excited. But yeah, overall, here are some suggestions. If you are encountering some countercharge issues, you can replace some Masquerades for Curse Lancer. If you think you're decking out too much, you can replace the mains for Curse Lancer or Masquerade. I think Curse Lancer is actually an okay card. Personally, I don't really find it necessary because Doreen is all you need. Doreen is MVP as well. Oh, so many cards are MVP in this deck. You can play around with the Dark Bond count with your Masquerade count. If you find that you need more beaters early game, play more Masquerade, 1 more, and switch it to 2 Dark Bonds. I just like 3 Dark Bonds because I'd much rather draw into it than tutor it with Tardu, because I'd much rather tutor a Doreen or a Masquerade. Because if I draw into the Dark Bond, I can choose whenever to use it, right? But if I tutor it with Tartu, I have to choose to use Dark Bond, yes or no, the moment Tardu is played and Superior calls the Dark Bond. So it's just about when the decision points happen. I prefer drawing into the Dark Bond, but Superior calling it is still great. Okay, so that was a mouthful. I hope I didn't bore you yet. Let's just go quickly into 1 or 2 games and see how this deck performs. So I am at Legend 6, again, taking it a little bit chill, but I've been having so much fun. I've been playing this deck a lot. I've been playing Nova, Ethics Reverse as well. I've been playing Link Joker, even though my Link Joker luck was horrible. And if you want to see my despair, go check out the pack opening. That was a roller coaster, to say the least. But as you can see, we did pull basically all our Revengers. I can still craft 7 Shadow Paladin triple rares. So yeah, in terms of the mulligan, I think keeping the Raging Form is actually okay. Keeping the Raging Form, keeping the Mordred Phantom is definitely ideal. Raging Form is okay. But this might be a VP farmer, and yes, it is. So I guess let's just catch you in the next game. And we are back. So done with the VP farmer. I just figured it out throughout the game. I completely forgot about which talk about the ride targets. So let's just quickly go over them. For grade 1, generally speaking, you're either going to be riding the Masquerade Doreen or Dark Bond Trumpeter, which sounds really no shit. Dark Bond, if you feel like you already have the pieces, if you have something like a Tortu that will help you toot out another copy of, you know, whichever one, then go for that. Here again, I'm comfortable with keeping the Raging Form because you will need it for Persona Blast anyways. And grade 1 is fine, 7k. Grade 2, these two are all right. Generally, don't be picky. In terms of grade 2, my ideal ride target is honestly Masquerade, Blaster Dark, and then Tortu. The main, avoid riding at all costs because 5k body means you're gonna get bullied. Masquerade, you know, 12k BD is nice and all, but generally speaking, you do want to maintain that Revenger name. And Blaster Dark, Revenger, and Tortu actually just does more. Is this another VP farmer? Alright, well, let's just finish this and then jump to game 3, I guess. Really quickly, grade 3, obviously, you're going to go for Mordred and then Raging Form. The others are only options. Babbed Car is, you know, primarily a rearguard only unit. So here, you know, like, I see a lot of ways to plus. I have a Raging Form that I need to use though, so maybe I'll ride the 7k. Call out the Creeping Dark Goat, generally in the corner as well because it's a 4k, and I want to save the space behind the Vanguard for 7k boosters to hit 21 if I think I can expand the board. If I don't think I can expand the board, then I'll put the Creeping Dark Goat, Creeping Dark Goat, I have to say that multiple times, behind the Vanguard so I can still at least hit 18k numbers, which is still good. And here, well, 14 or 11 doesn't really make a difference because our opponent's 5k. So I guess I'll see you all soon. And we are back again, done farming. It's a tiring day at the farm. How's everyone's ranked experience? I hope everyone is running into VP farmers if you enjoy winning or just collecting the VP. Here we go. I'm pretty sure this is going to be an actual game. This is it, as we said. Revenger, mirror match is quite common, you know, especially when you are bringing Revenger yourself. We have our Mordred here, our ideal first ride. We don't need another copy, we're fine like that. Grade 2s, ideally we don't ride them to main, but since we're going second, we can hold the mech clear, and the Doreen is fine as a ride target as well. So let's just toss the Mordred and see how we go. Oh, we got the Raging Form, so in this matchup, we won't need to use the Creeping Dark Goat. At least I don't feel inclined to. Our opponent is still going to be playing the Fool Bow, so I guess I was a little bit off by saying it was a Revenger mirror match, but I guess we will be seeing some old school stuff. And I guess this is a great way to showcase how much Shadow has moved on from their old counterpart. Our opponent's playing Nightmare Painter. When placed, you put a card from your hand to the soul. Glitched right there. Here, most of the time you only need one Doreen. Actually, you won't have multiple Blaster Dark swinging around. So it's okay with riding that. You only have one copy of Raging Form right now, so keeping that Dark Bond is okay as well. Let's just ride this. Call out the Creeping Dark Goat to the corners. We don't have anything other than that in the main to ride, which is a shame. We hit that draw trigger into DRM Weed, and that's an SP. Let's turn on the animations for your entertainment, of course. Generally speaking, I do not recommend you turning on animations at all, especially in decks like Revengers, when you have to make a lot of plays during your endgame, and those animations could ruin your game. You could run out of time. You could just not have enough time to just make your plays and think through your plays. So definitely hurts. Our opponent rides in the main. We are riding the main too. Of course, not ideal, but it's okay. It's okay. We do what we have to do here. Let's expand the board because we don't have any other units anyways. I feel like calling this out is okay. Calling this out. Considering being a bit greedy with the Masquerade, since we are low on the grade 2 count, and sometimes being greedy can help us pick some stuff up. But how many triggers have we shown here? We have shown 3. There's still 9 left. 9 and 28. What are the odds? What's 9 and 28? 1/3? 1/3, 30%. Doesn't seem that good. So let's just hold and see what we can do here. Alright, Tartu. We see that Tartu. Alright, no trigger, which means our goat can go pew. Nice, nice. Alright, opponent hits a draw trigger, PBD, our boy. That's the PBO. PBO. So here's a fun fact. I'm sure everyone knows PBD transforms into PBO because PBO is the cross ride. But in the lore, Majesty Lord Blaster kind of kills PBO. And PBO's spirit or soul splits into 2. The good half turns into Mordred Phantom, Revenger Mordred Phantom, and the bad half turns into Gust Blaster Dragon, I believe. So correct me if I'm wrong, but that's just a little fun fact that especially when we are going to be bringing the good half of PBO onto the game. Let's get it. We're going to get Mr. Derp Pegasus Knight. He looks a little bit derpy here, but trust me, he's pretty cool. One of the problems with Dark Bond is that if you misplace it, like what I did just now, and you draw into your Tartu, well, it's going to be unfortunate because it's going to be cloggy, right? Like, until you retire, you're going to be stuck with this kind of situation. So, I guess, avoid that if you're watching this, and don't clog your board. But to be fair, you get to replenish your board really quickly anyways, so I guess it's not that bad, but it's still a misplay. Definitely. We're just going to hit numbers. We have a PG. Don't have a lot of grade 2s, but it's okay. We're going to be able to superior call one with Mordred Phantom. I'm going to set up your Blaster Dark. I don't really need to step on the Trumpeter to call out the, or the trigger to call out the Dorint because we're comfortable with Counterblast. Anyways, we are not really needing that unflip one right now to actually do anything later on. So it's still fine. It's still fine. Most of the plays on Revenger's end comes from its grade 2s. So it's a shame I didn't really get to showcase them. But your early game with Tartu, being able to on-demand set up a 16k column and just punch is really, really strong, especially if you're going first. In addition, just being able to set up the Dorint for future plays is just nice. One thing to consider is that if you are going first, it means that your opponent is generally going to be dealing 1 damage to you. And what that means is, well, you have to choose Tartu or Dark Goat. Personally, I'd much rather have that Mordred ride than miss that Mordred ride, so I'd definitely 100% use the Dark Goat. But if you already have the Mordred and the only thing you're missing is the Raging Form, I'd still definitely go for Tartu because you still have multiple turns to get your Raging Forms onto your hand. Alright, we're drawing stuff, okay. This is fine. We're gonna Break Ride, and this deck can actually kill at 3. Even if your opponent has intercepts, you can still kill at 3 because you have Blaster Dark Revenger. Here, we're gonna Superior Call something. Fortunately, it's not gonna do much. So let's just call bait. just called bait, so we can retire it. Well, not really retire it because we're going to use it as a booster. It's still 11k booster, so it helps hit those 31k numbers, 34k numbers in this case. We're going to sack to pick up Raging Form. We can Tartu to get numbers, because numbers are good. And be aware that because Car is not a Revenger, you can't use it during the mid-battle sack as well. So calling out something else is honestly okay. And do I value the Trumpeter or the Doreen more? I think the Trumpeter could be worth more right now. Alright. So generally, when you're retiring, you either retire L-shaped, and this is particularly the case when you're playing against a deck like Link Joker, but the bottom three is also okay. In this case, I actually misplayed again because I would much rather attack with the grade 3 column first, because I'm going to prioritize retiring the grade 3 than my grade 2, right? So that's definitely another miss right here. So if you are watching this video and you are playing Revengers, don't make the mistakes that I'm making right now. Hit that Raging Form. Can we get another one? It's okay. We have 2 PGs in our hand. We have 1 intercept still ready to go, and we have 2 retires to punish our opponent especially when they're at 5. So we have plenty of options moving into the next turn. Nowhere near dead yet. Not dead yet. So we are cruising. We are cruising. They are calling their Blaster Dark. Remember, their Blaster Dark, the OG one, can only retire on Vanguard Circle. So this one is definitely a lot suave. Much more suave. Retiring the domain for the intercept snipe. 2 attacks only. Probably has a Persona Blast. If not, they have to pray for trigger. They're thinking, which means they do have it, and obviously they're going to use it, but it's okay. Dark Dictator. Alright, alright. Boingo. Alright, and then we win. Of course, if our opponent doesn't hit those heal triggers. But can we circumvent those heal trigger plays? Retire, retire, swing. I think we can even circumvent the heal play. If they hit a heal, they'll still die. I think if we play it like this. Oh, why are we? What? The clock is low. We have to think fast. Come on, 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 come on! Oh no, I misplayed. I should have retired instead of called out the Dark Bond. Is this gonna cost us the game? Is this gonna cost us the game? The turn timer! The turn timer! The animation! The turn timer! Ah. Oh no! Oh no, oh no, oh no. Alright, let's attack. Come on, come on, come on, come on. And the game's already sped up quite a bit. If you've been playing, you will know what I'm saying. The game's already moving at a much faster pace, like 1.2 times speed from last season. So, oh, we hit the heal. Do they have that 1 more PG or that 6 damage heal? And we're at 5 cards left. We might deck out right here. Raging Form, no heal. 2 and 15. Ah, PBD. That's it. That's game. Alright, that was quite the intense match. Alright, we're almost at Legend 7. I guess we will call it that for this video. If you are interested in seeing more, remember to subscribe, because I often bring the decks that I do deck profiles with, maybe make a few updates to keep things interesting or adapting to the meta, and play those on live streams. So if you are interested in seeing it live, remember to just click the bell and subscribe so you will be notified by YouTube. And also, well, even if you miss it, even if you're busy, you can still check out the reruns and you will know because it's on your subscription list. If you have enjoyed this video, remember to like it. It definitely helps a lot. I feel like Revengers are definitely a really popular deck. So if you like the Revenger as a deck as a whole, as much as I do, I definitely think that it's really fun and really, really cool. Definitely go give it a like. Let me know down below how you've been finding this meta. Do you have any suggestions for this list? Because definitely it's only day 2. There's only so many games I can be playing, and I'm only at almost Legend 7. So not too many games, definitely not too many games. But so far, I think it's so good. And I hope you enjoyed. I hope this video helps you out. Think through your plays. Remember, all the cards are really good, so just recognize what each card does, recognize, you know, the limitations and the strengths and weaknesses of each cards, play through them, and I'd love to hear your thoughts and discuss down below. So with that said, I hope to see you all soon. Keep card fighting, and I'll see you next time. Bye.